You're now listening to the Arsenal Therapy Podcast.
Hello and welcome back to the 15-minute show, part of the Arsenal Therapy Podcast. Today, I've got a very, very special guest on the show. I've been chasing him for a while, but he launched his own channel in the midst of that. And I'm very, very pleased to welcome Adrian Clark to the show, former Arsenal winger. How are you doing today, Adrian?
Hello, Adam. Yeah, good. I'm feeling pretty chipper, I think, ahead of the new season. That was good at the weekend, wasn't it, for Arsenal? But yeah, no, thanks for having me on the show. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, well, thanks for coming on. And obviously, you were at both games. You were working pitch side as well. How did you feel on Saturday after the game in comparison to how you felt after the showing against Villarreal?
Yeah, I wasn't actually at the game on Saturday. I wasn't booked to work it, and I worked on another game for Sky Sports in the EFL. So I got home and I watched it at home. So had a different perspective. But look, I felt obviously much happier, far more content after the Athletic Club Bilbao game, because it was not a perfect performance, but it was a very much more accomplished performance. Very little defensive mistakes, barring just giving it away once or twice inside our own half, which was a bit precarious. But defensively, we were much more disciplined. And look, it all came together, didn't it, with the movement? I think down the left-hand side, we were tremendous, really. Lots and lots of points of tactical interest, which I'm sure we're going to get to shortly. So yeah, no, I was thrilled with how sharp the players looked. And my overwhelming feeling at the end of that game was that the players looked ready.
Yeah, absolutely. And unlike everyone else that has been on this show, you've actually played the game at the highest level. So I really wanted to pick your brains today on how we tactically get the most out of this attack, where we need to improve, what you've seen in pre-season that you think might help us. So first up, I'm going to start with Viktor Gyokeres, because obviously he is the one that everyone talks about. I've got some clips of his actions in the game, which I'll put on the screen now. And first up, one of the moves we saw very early on with Saka getting down one side, gets into the box, and that cross ball for Viktor Gyokeres. On this occasion, it's not a great shot. But what I loved about this was you've seen Saka straight away head up. He knows that there's someone in the box, and Gyökeres is in between the posts. That's something that we haven't seen enough from our centre forwards. But what are your thoughts on this and just the movement and how Arsenal are going to adapt to having Gyökeres in the team?
Yeah, look, he's a proper striker. Like you say, we've had players that are sort of learning on the job. Even Kai Havertz has played it bits and pieces during his career, but he's learning the role. Marino clearly was a rookie to it. Gabriel Jesus is a maverick striker that tends to sort of spend probably more time out wide than he does in the box. So, yeah, it's been a while since we've had someone in there that is what I would regard as a proper number 9. And you saw it with that piece of movement there. He sensed that the space was actually in the little pocket behind the defender, so he just stands still. Sometimes the best pieces of movement are to stand still or just to back off a couple of yards, because the defenders are naturally running towards their own goal. So that was a really smart piece of movement, and it was good that himself and Saka were on the same wavelength. So yeah, that was a decent piece of play, if not a brilliant shot. But yeah, what I really like about him is the way that he's going to stretch opponents, because he makes early runs, and he has a real thirst, a desire to run down the side of defenders, and we haven't really had anybody to do that with great conviction in recent seasons. So that, I think, will be the biggest difference. It's just a case of the players getting in tune with the runs that he makes. But we certainly saw a bit more of that on Saturday.
Yeah, well, let's have a look at some of his runs here, because that was the big story. You see here, Martinelli gets the ball, and straight away he's saying going around the side of defenders. He has it, pulls it back. Good shot from Calafiori. I like that he took it first time, but it was one of those where he shoots, and I want to see more of that first time shooting from Arsenal. I don't care if it goes over. And then the goal itself, again, it's all about movement here. So as a winger, if you're getting the ball, I've mentioned Saka head up. He knew that he was going to be between the posts. Zubimendi again. I've just mentioned I like someone shooting first time. I like someone crossing first time even more. And again, give me your perspective on this, because there are two elements to this. There's the very quick cross, and then there's a defender, again, getting in between the posts and putting that header right on target aggressively.
Yeah. Look, the timing of the run was intuitive again. It was a perfect angled run, timing spot on. The one touch crosses take a bit of bravery. I used to be a winger. When it's just rolled back to you, providing the pace, there isn't too much pace on the ball. It is inviting to hit it first time, but you can look silly. You put a real whip on it and you get it wrong, it will look terrible and it'll balloon over everybody and everyone will moan and groan. So you've got to really back yourself. But I think the chances of a player scoring from a first time cross are greatly enhanced over if compared to taking 2-3 touches. And if you're a striker, and sometimes I did play up front, if you're a striker, you don't want to have to make one run, stop, wait, make a second run, make a third run. That's not going to help you, and it's going to make it easy for the defender. So it's all about putting the ball into the most dangerous part of the box before defenders are set. And to do that, often you have to hit it first time. So I've been delighted that cross was world class from Zubimendi, but we also saw Kivior do it for Saka, didn't we? In that the first friendly against AC Milan. So I do believe that it's something that the players and the manager would have talked about. Can we put earlier crosses into the box? Because we've got a guy in there now that knows how to attack balls sent into that area.
Yeah, and when you look at it, you can see Zubimendi, he does almost kind of set himself for it. It's rolled back. You can see himself sizing up the ball, weighing up the weight of the pass coming towards him, and he just looks so effortless. His technique is first
into
class.
an area. Yeah, he's just putting it into an area, Adam. He can't. No one can sort of in that moment look up, pinpoint. He just knows that Gyökeres will be there or thereabouts. So he just wants to whip a quality ball into that space. And yeah, thankfully, our new striker read it absolutely beautifully. So yeah, it was that was a class goal, and I hope we see that lots more of that.
Well, you played with some great strikers during your time at Arsenal who were very, very instinctive. As a winger, how much confidence does that give you before you head across, that not just that you have to put a good ball into the box, but they can almost make the most of a half-hit cross or a poor cross?
Look, every winger wants lots of assists and to create chances, don't they? So if you've got someone in there that can be adaptable, that's instinctive, that makes good movement, then it makes you look better, doesn't it? There are so many times I think in recent seasons where we have put good quality balls into the box, but just not enough people have been in the box or no one's been in the right spot. So I think this is a proven number 9 at a high level. I just think that the players will now have more confidence to whip balls in earlier. Previously, you're taking 2-3 touches, we're cutting inside all the time. Last season, the big criticism for me in the way that we attacked was taking too long over putting the ball in, but far too many loopy in-swinging crosses that weren't really testing the opposition defence. Early balls, whether it's a pass or a cross, that's what hurts defenders because they're not set. They're not ready. And that's the key for me.
Yeah, and those early balls were a feature of this game. We saw Gyökeres straight after he scores. This one, Martin Odegaard gets it and he plays him free. And this was something that I noticed more of Odegaard in pre-season, was a desire to break the lines and play those vertical passes and get players in behind. In the early games, it felt like we were preparing for the players arriving, but we were kind of starting to do things and he maybe didn't get the credit. You see here, just after he scores, on this occasion, he kind of runs it nowhere, puts a cross in, gets blocked. But again, you can see that desire. It was, give me the ball and I'm going to run into this area. And that was a feature of the game. This one was another piece of play that I loved, a very direct play, but he gets it and he just plays it into Saka. And again, nothing came of that one. But for me, I'm looking at that and I'm thinking, this is someone that is going to make us play more direct. And that was my biggest criticism of Arsenal last season. But again, with his link-up play, Gyökeres isn't the player that's going to flick the ball on with his head. He's not someone that's going to win those duels in the way you mentioned Mikel Merino. He is a prime dueler. He loves shoulder to shoulder. Gyökeres is more of a layoff player. Whenever he's holding up the ball, you get it down, scrap it. But again, how much do you think that will impact Saka, for example, who will also want to get the ball into his feet earlier? Because we talk about Saka being doubled and tripled up upon, but actually a big part of that is because he's receiving it so late.
Yeah. Look, if first and foremost, if you turn defenders and get them stretched, it will have the obviously you want the player to get in, and sometimes they will get in, and it just takes you up the pitch. But what happens is that opposition team will then have to drop off. They'll be scared stiff of having to chase back towards their own goal, chasing Gyökeres every 5 minutes or so. So they'll drop off, and that will then create more space and time for your Zubimendis, your Odegaards, and maybe your Sakas to get involved. One feature of pre-season is that we've gone long with big diagonals to Saka early on in games as well. That has the impact of getting him lots of touches early on, but also just putting the frighteners on the left back so that they're very, very wary. And again, they drop off, which allows us to maybe get the ball in earlier to the feet of Saka, which really is where we want it. We want him to get it to feet, 1v1, where he can take the players on. And he's doing a very good job at that, particularly on the outside in pre-season. So these long balls have a purpose for that moment, because obviously you want it to work. It could create something, but it has its deeper effect because it creates doubt in the opposition defenders, and it will create more room for us to go and play. So yeah, I'm all for this percentage play. It's better. And look, we'll maybe get into it a little bit later, but playing maybe with a double pivot and just one central Odegaard more central. Again, it lends itself to playing it into Gyökeres, set it back for Odegaard to then go and play. And we obviously saw that with the goal that Saka scored.
It's just one long ball through the middle, nice layoff from Gyökeres, and again it's Odegaard, very central.
Yeah. So here, it just comes from that downward header, little 1-2, but it's the run, isn't it? It's the purpose of the run from Martinelli. He shows great desire to go beyond the man. And if you've got an Odegaard needs runners. He needs people to offer him that run. The clip you showed before with Gyökeres going down the side, he's already moving. He's already moving before Odegaard's got the ball under control. And that's what he will bring. And it might just rub off on players like Martinelli and Saka as well. Just the more joy we get with it, the more they might want to make those runs like we just saw there. So, yeah, again, Martinelli, it doesn't drive me mad because I like him as a player, but I just wish he'd do that more often and make those driving runs from left into central areas, because he's very hard to stop, isn't he? So, yeah, going direct is something we can do with Kai Havertz. And we've seen that in pre-season where he'll flick it on or he'll knock it down, chest it down. But with Gyökeres, it will turn defenders. And one other point, very quickly, is most teams in the Premier League now press, don't they? They want to go and squeeze up. Well, all of a sudden, we've now got a real out ball, haven't we? Where we can go, bosh, over the centre half, down the side, and we know that Gyökeres will go and chase it. So that's a little out ball for us that maybe we didn't have before too.
Yeah, well, Gyökeres is also a great channel runner. So he is someone that will go down the left repeatedly. He will find that space. But in the clip I've just showed you, Martinelli goes from out to in. He makes that run that we saw a lot of in the 22-23 season when Jesus used to go the other way. So do you think that will help Martinelli? Because not only has he got a second runner that wants to go beyond the back line, he's got someone that will also move and create space for him.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because he's a big distraction. If you've got a striker that doesn't move a lot, Mikel Merino, let's just use that as an example. It's not his position. That's how we had to do it at the end of the season. He wasn't going to move centre halves around. Now, Viktor Gyokeres will move his markers around, whether it's to the left, to the right. And of course, if he goes down the left, it opens up a channel on the inside, doesn't it, for Martinelli? So, yeah, I just think less structure is going to be better for Arsenal as an attacking force this season. So, yeah, and while we're on that left side, I did think that Calafiori added something as well in that regard, because he just takes up those unusual positions. So, yeah, I can see it working. I can see us causing opponents a lot more problems. The issue will come against the really obdurate, low block teams that might not give us space to make those runs. We're going to have to be really creative and sharp with our passes to breach those teams. But I think we'll get there because we've got good players.
Yeah, absolutely. And players are the key part of it. Players kind of make systems. Forwards very much make the system. But we've added numerous players this year. How much do you see the actual profiles of the players and what they can do changing play, and not just changing it, but forcing Arteta, or possibly that's what Arteta is looking for, but ultimately using the traits that they bring to the team as opposed to having a very rigid structure or system that helps allow a Mikel Merino to thrive as a centre forward?
Yeah. It's about having unusual players and players that will do things that are unpredictable. So Gyökeres can do that because we talked about he's an explosive, dynamic runner. Madueke, he's a dribbler, loves to run at players. He can come from the left, from the right. If Odegaard's more central again, less predictable. Is he going to pop up to the left of centre? Is he going to pop up to the right? It's we've been linked with Eze. Player I love. He would take up unusual positions and unlock the door in a way that we didn't really have the personnel to do last year. So I think the big thing that he's looked at here is let's create a bit more chaos, a bit more carnage inside the final third, because we've got the defensive platform really. So let's have a bit more fun with it and not be quite as predictable in the way that we move the ball around. So that's the big thing. And obviously Zubimendi is a player that is good enough to play early, quick forward passes. So what I think we'll see is Odegaard and Saka and Gyökeres and Martinelli or whoever it is, they'll receive passes a second quicker than they did before. And that second might not sound a lot, but in football terms, it's brilliant because again, defenders aren't settled. That's how you catch them off guard. So Zubimendi as well is going to helpfully unlock those attacking frustrations we had last year.
Yeah, and you mentioned Madueke. So I've selected a few of his actions because a lot of the criticism of Martinelli was about how isolated he was. But Madueke's come on and you can see the space he's getting the ball in. Very isolated again. But every time he gets the ball, you can see the head's up. He's looking, even in this off balance, head goes up, great cross in. Gyökeres again. It's where you want him to be. Inch perfect cross and very unlucky not to score. But again, head up, down the line. This comes back to Gyökeres making those runs. He's looking up, he's expecting a runner. And on this occasion, Miles isn't a runner, but you can see Madueke wants to play that pass. And this is where some of the other players maybe need to start getting on their bike a bit more in playing up the field. But this is probably one of our nicest bits of intricate play.
Yeah.
And you can see Madueke 3 or 4 touches, really involved. But again, he was someone that looked bright. What are your thoughts on his role? Because what I found very interesting, he came on at halftime when he would have been playing with Odegaard, Zubimendi, and Declan Rice, as opposed to coming on in 70 minutes when those players were starting to tire and come off. So it felt like there was a clear indication. How does Madueke look on the left-hand side with our key players?
Yeah, definitely. It was a sort of a box that needed ticking, wasn't it? He also needed minutes. He's been a bit short of them in pre-season, so he come back a little bit later, didn't he? So, I think there was twofold really. But I'm glad he got the chance to play with those guys. I'm glad that he shone on the left as well. I must admit, when he came, I thought, well, he's going to be Saka's understudy. But the more I see of him on the left, I think the more he offers genuine competition. Especially, we don't know what's going to happen with Trossard, but the mood music feels like he might. If we're going to sell someone, it might be him. So I think he can provide real competition for Martinelli down that side. Slightly better end product from him than Martinelli at the weekend, but Gabriel is a player that can really make things happen as well. We shouldn't underplay his impact. Obviously, without his run, Saka doesn't go and score that goal. And does Madueke make that run into the central area? I'm not quite sure. So they've both got similar but also slightly different qualities. So I'm really pleased with Madueke and the way he's settled in. could see him getting plenty of game time. And really, I know that it costs a lot of money, but he really is the guy that's the upgrade on Sterling, and I would say it's a pretty hefty upgrade in terms of what he's going to offer
Massive.
the team this season. So yeah.
Yeah, well, you mentioned Havertz having the ability to knock the ball down. What he does also have that I think is sometimes overlooked is the big running power. And we saw that with his goal. So this one reminded me of the goal against Brighton last season where Saka played it over to him. On that occasion, he chipped it. But in that game, he also had a very similar run where he couldn't quite shake off Van Hekel and he couldn't get his body fully adjusted. And he played it. He actually played a similar shot, but without the accuracy. And again, this felt like Kai coming on and showing, I'm not rolling over for you. I can make those runs. I can still finish. I've got a big role to play in this team. So again, how important is it for two strikers to be coming in right before the season starts, final game of preseason, both with a goal under their belt?
Yeah, it's just easy to pressure, doesn't it? And that their confidence obviously rises. Brilliant goal, wasn't it? Absolutely, I love that goal. Great pace. Looked even quicker this year. Kai Havertz, he's obviously worked on his body, hasn't he? He's beefed up. He certainly looks more powerful when he runs as well. So, yeah, look, he's up for the fight. He's up for the battle. If you play for Arsenal, Adam, you know that there's going to be someone else in your position that's also a really, really good player. It's just the way it is. And so Kai Havertz won't be put out by it. He'll just see it as a challenge and think, well, yeah, hopefully Gyökeres can push me, I'll push him, and we can both contribute. And they will, won't they? I mean, there's so many, one might play for an hour, the other one comes on for the last half hour. There are many situations, game states where you could see the pair of them working well as a front two as well. So yeah, it's good. You want them. What you want as a manager, you want two of your strikers to both be absolutely desperate to be leading scorer this season, and I got a feeling that they will be. Gyökeres my money would be on Gyökeres scoring more than Havertz, but you never know. Kai is also a player of quality. So yeah, let's see. I'm excited. I'm excited to see them both make a big impact this season.
Yeah, and just finally, what have you seen in preseason that's really given you that optimism, and what more do you want to see before the season starts to really maximize this, or as the season kicks off to really maximize the attack?
Yeah. I think it's the clear change that we're definitely going a bit more direct, and I'm for that. I just think obviously we don't want to see Arsenal become a long ball team. We're still going to play lots of pretty football, but I just think there's a time and a place where you can go in one pass where you could take 3, 4, 5 or 6. And Liverpool are very good at that, aren't they? I think Mikel would have looked at Liverpool and thought how many goals they score on the counter-attack, how many times they really go and punish teams with 1 or 2 passes very quickly upfield. We lacked a little bit of pace and dynamism last year, but this time around, Gyökeres brings that. He brings explosiveness. Havertz is clearly trying to up his game in that sense. And Saka and Martinelli will run as well. It just seems in pre-season there seems a real desire for players to run, and I've been saying it for years. On the Arsenal shows that I've been doing, you need to move defenders around by running and running hard. And sometimes we've been guilty of not doing that enough in the attack. We run around, we cover a lot of distance, but sometimes we don't make enough runs for the player on the ball. And it feels like in pre-season that's shifting, which is great.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly what all of us wanted to see. I think Liverpool scored 32 goals on transition last year. It was the highest in the league. So there's definitely appetite to improve. Mikel does it every year. But a massive thank you for coming on the show, Adrian. I'm a huge fan of your work. Could you please tell everyone where they could find you and your channel?
Thanks, Adam. Yeah. It's just I've got a new YouTube channel. It's just my name, Adrian Clark. Just do a search and hopefully it'll pop up. I think I've done 7 videos so far, but I've been so chuffed with the response. It's been overwhelmingly positive. Some fantastic messages I've got and lots of views as well. So yeah, I'm thrilled to bits with it, and hopefully I can just make it better and better the longer the season goes on. I'll add a few stats, a little bit of polish to it as we go. But I'm a little bit of a rookie on this YouTube, Adam. I might need 1 or 2 tips from you after we go off air.
Yeah, I mean it's absolutely superb content. I've watched every video that you've put out. So yeah, I would urge everyone to go and check out Adrian's channel. And if you've enjoyed this video, please drop a like, drop a comment. I love having conversations with everyone, and please subscribe to the channel. We'll be back again very soon. Have a great day.